Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about rider swap and how you can use it at Disney World and how you can use it for your advantage in Fastpasses and getting a little extra bang for your buck. So what is rider swap? This is something Disney offers to guests when a child is either not tall enough to ride a ride or maybe they're too scared to ride a ride, and it allows some of the party to go through while another adult watches the child that does not meet the requirements or is too scared. And then when party one is done, the other adult that has been watching the child gets to go on and ride the ride, and they get to go through the fast pass line. So if you're waiting 2 hours in a 2-hour wait at Slinky Dog Dash, both parties don't have to wait in that long line. Now one will, if you don't have a fast pass, one party will have to wait in that long line, but then party number two, who waited with the child, gets to just go straight through the fast pass line. Keep in mind that rider swap is available only at certain attractions at Disney World, and we'll talk about those at the end of the video. I'll give you a list of the ones that they're available for. So how does rider swap work? Your entire party needs to show up to the front of the attraction where you're going to take advantage of rider swap. You then decide who's going to be in party one and ride first and who's going to be in party two, who's going to be watching the child. The cast member then scans the magic band for party two. This will automatically put on your My Disney Experience app that you are wanting to take advantage of the rider swap program, and it tells you your deadline to return to this attraction. Now, it used to be that you would get a paper ticket for rider swap and you could come back anytime throughout the day. But now that it's digital and it's on your ticket or your magic band and it shows up in My Disney Experience, there is a deadline and you want to make sure you meet that deadline. So keep that in mind when you're making your fast pass selections, knowing that you're going to have to ride the ride twice. Now, if party one has fast passes for that ride, and we're going to talk about this later, if they have fast passes for that ride, they get to go in the fast pass lane, of course. But if they don't, then they're going to be waiting in the entire queue, whether it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour. So party one rides the ride, then they come out and they meet up with party two. They do their child swap, who's gonna watch the child, the little ones now, and then party two gets to ride, and you can have up to 3 people go back on that ride with you for party two. So let's give a couple examples of how this can work. Let's say that you have 2 adults and 2 kids. 1 kid is big enough to ride and 1 kid is not big enough to ride. All 4 people will show up to the front of the attraction, and you will decide which parent is going to go first with the big kid. You then let the cast member know. They'll scan the other adult, the one who's going to be waiting with the small child. They'll scan that adult's ticket or magic band, and that adult will then wait with the little child and go do whatever they want to do. They can go look in the shop, or they can walk around and take pictures. They're free to do whatever they want in that area. They don't have to sit and wait in line, which is awesome. Adult one and big kid go ride the ride, then they're done. And now it's adult two's turn to ride the ride. But like we said earlier, party two can have up to 3 people on it. So adult two gets to now go with big kid again, and big kid gets to ride the ride twice with each parent, which is pretty awesome. Now, there are ways to maximize your use of Fast Pass in this type of scenario. You could be getting twice as many Fast Passes if you are getting Fast Passes for rides that offer rider swap. So let me give you an example of this. Let's say your big kid wants to ride Seven Dwarf Mine Train and Barnstormer. What you could do is have parent one and big kid get a fast pass for Seven Dwarf Mine Train and take advantage of the rider swap. So parent one and big kid one, or big kid, would then go ride Seven Dwarf Mine Train. Parent two doesn't need a fast pass because they're gonna use the rider swap, and he or she will get to go through the fast pass line anyway with the big kid again. And then for Barnstormer, you could have parent two get a fast pass and small child get a fast pass. And here's where I don't feel comfortable recommending this because I'm not sure it's really legal in the eyes of Disney. The big kid could then use little kid's fast pass to ride Barnstormer with parent two, and then they do child swap and parent one gets to then go again with the big kid. Now think about how little kid is going to be waiting around a lot. That's something to consider. So like I said, not super comfortable recommending this because I'm not sure that's actually legal, like I said, in Disney's eyes. It's also assuming that little kid is at least 3 or older to even have fast passes, because keep in mind, if your little one is 2 and under, they don't get tickets and they don't get fast passes. Let's talk about where you can really get some bang for your buck with this rider swap and fast pass selections. If you have 3 kids and 2 are big enough to ride the ride and 1 is not, you're gonna be doing rider swap for this child. Now this is my scenario in my upcoming trip, and we are gonna be having to do rider swap a lot for our 2-year-old who does not have a ticket. so doesn't have access to Fastpasses. Try to follow me on this. You can get more Fastpasses if your kids are willing to ride the ride only one time. You can have adult 1 get a Fastpass with kid 1, and they can both ride that ride with and go through the Fastpass lane, while adult 2, kid 2, and little child, I hope you're following this, and little child wait with child swap. Then after kid 1 and adult 1 are done with that ride, adult 2 and kid 2 can then go ride the ride together. Now here's a little bonus. Adult 2 and kid 2 can go, that's only 2 people in party 2 using the rider swap. So they can also bring kid 1 along too, and kid 1 can ride that ride twice. They rode it once with their Fastpass, and now they're riding it once with rider swap, and everyone got to go through the Fastpass line. Now you may be thinking, well, that's not fair. Kid 1 gets to ride that ride twice. I agree. So you have a conversation with your kids and you say, you're going to get to ride some rides twice and you're going to get to ride some rides twice. Let me tell you my example that I'm using for my trip coming up. I have a 7-year-old daughter, a 5-year-old son, and a 2-year-old son. My 7-year-old and my 5-year-old want to ride Slinky Dog Dash. Now, if they wanted to both get Fastpasses for it, they would have been able to ride it twice. But my 7-year-old daughter would have had to ride alone on both of those Slinky Dog rides. At Disney World, there are restrictions on who can ride by themselves. You have to be at least 7 years old to ride in a seat by yourself. Now, my 7-year-old, she meets the requirements, but she does not want to ride Slinky Dog Dash all by herself. So what we would have been doing is getting Fastpasses for the 2 adults, the 2 kids. My 2-year-old doesn't get Fastpasses for anything because he doesn't have a ticket. We would have gotten Fastpasses for the 2 adults, the 2 kids, and then my daughter and my son could have ridden the ride twice. They could have both gone with parent 1, and then they both could have used rider swap to go with parent 2. However, if they did that and there was 1 adult and 2 kids for both of those rides, my 7-year-old daughter would have to be by herself. And I know, I had a conversation with her, she doesn't want to ride Slinky Dog Dash all by herself. She would be terrified. So what we did instead was we got adult 1, a Fastpass for Slinky Dog, kid 1, Fastpass for Slinky Dog. Those 2, that we're going to call that party 1. Party 1's going to ride Slinky Dog with their Fastpasses, and then adult 2 and kid 2 are going to get to use the rider swap, and they'll get to go in the Fastpass lane also. So essentially everyone kind of has a Fastpass for Slinky Dog. And then we got to have adult 2 and kid 2 get Fastpasses for Alien Swirling Saucers. And they're going to ride that together, and then adult 1 and kid 1 will get to then go through the Fastpass and ride after rider swap. I hope that makes sense. It's super confusing. Write it down on paper to help yourself out. So that's an example if you're going to be switching out your kids, and they'll each ride the ride only once. You also have the opportunity to use the system in another way where both kids will get different opportunities to ride different rides twice. Here's the example for that. Let's take Soarin' and Test Track. Both of these rides, unlike Slinky Dog Dash, you get to be with 2 kids. So Test Track has seats 3, a row of 3 and a row of 3. Soarin' is just massive rows. So I could be by 2 kids at one time, and they're not going to be terrified because they're not going to be all by themselves in a roller coaster seat, just terrified. So where this system really works is rides like Soarin' and Test Track at Epcot, where they're both in the Tier 1 system, and you could have only gotten 1 Fastpass for those rides. So here, we actually got to get Fastpasses for Soarin' and Fastpasses for Test Track, and here's how we're going to do it. So kid 1 and adult 1 have a Fastpass for Soarin'. They'll ride Soarin' with their Fastpass, while adult 2, kid 2, and baby are doing child swap. Then adult 2, kid 2, and kid 1. Kid 1 gets to go twice on Soarin'. They all go on Soarin' together. And this is one of those cases where kid 2 might feel like, well, that's not fair. I only got to ride Soarin' once. Well, hold up a second. Adult 2 and kid 2 have Fastpasses for Test Track, and they get to ride that through their Fastpass line, while adult 1 and kid 1 and baby are doing child swap. And then adult 1, kid 1, and kid 2 get to go on Test Track, which means kid 2 actually got to ride Test Track twice. Have these conversations with your kids before the trip. If you have a 7-year-old or older, they're able to ride rides. They're able to sit alone in a ride if mom or dad or parent is close by. So there's certain rides with like Thunder Mountain Railroad or Splash Mountain or Seven Dwarf Mine Train, where my 7-year-old can sit in front of me in this ride and I'm next to my 5-year-old, but I've had these conversations with her and she doesn't want to sit by herself. Now, your 7-year-old and older may want to sit by themselves and love it, and then you can think about how you want to use the system in that case. Also have these conversations with your kids of, do you understand that your brother or sister is going to get to ride this ride twice, but you get to ride this ride twice, and it all works out. I don't think that's probably something to spring on your kids the day of and have meltdowns while everyone's excited, and just have these conversations with your kids in advance. If I'm booking your trip, reach out to me. I can help you figure out how to maximize your Fastpasses, maximize rider swap. That is why I'm here. Finally, let's talk about what rides offer rider swap. At Magic Kingdom, these are the rides that offer rider swap. The mountains: Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Splash Mountain, Seven Dwarf Mine Train, Space Mountain, Tomorrowland Speedway, Stitch's Great Escape, and the Barnstormer. At Epcot, here are your rides that offer rider swap: Mission Space, Test Track, Soarin', and Frozen Ever After. At Hollywood Studios, you have Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, Star Tours, Slinky Dog Dash, and Alien Swirling Saucers that all offer rider swap. At Animal Kingdom, you have Dinosaur, Primeval Whirl, Expedition Everest, Cali River Rapids, and Avatar Flight of Passage that all offer rider swap for you. I hope you found this helpful. Please reach out to me if you need anything or if you have any questions. Have a magical day. Bye, guys.